Many lions inherit the glory of their fathers, their strength, and their dominance. Some continue on the path laid out for them, while others choose to distance themselves, retreating and hiding away from the eyes of fame, photographers, and seekers of stories and legends. Among these legends lives one of the most ferocious lions today, with his terrifying appearance and violent style. A lion who inherited strength from the king of beasts, the famous lion Skakama, whose stories and heroics are sung in the Savuti area. He is the pirate Phakara, the ruling and dominant lion, the one-eyed prince of battles. Born in Savuti, specifically in the Khwai Pride in 2011, the pride that Skakama and his brother Torn Nose chose to leave to focus on their powerful pride in the Marsh Pride, we recount the story of this strong cub whose fame would later spread across the region. With a pride consisting of 9 members, including Satau, Phakara's mother, 4 male cubs, and 3 other females, this pride was named the North. Perhaps the scarcity of females in this pride was the reason Skakama abandoned it and moved towards the southern Marsh Pride. Over the years of Phakara and his brother's upbringing, Satau and her sisters took care of them until they reached adulthood in 2014. When these sons' activities and love for exploration and discovery began, Phakara and his brother Trump eventually declared their dominance over the surrounding lands, reaching their father's land in the south. The latter did not like Phakara and Trump's rebellion and immediately worked to chase them back to their northern territory. It was early 2015 when Skakama and Torn Nose headed north to expel their sons. This was indeed accomplished, especially since they were at the peak of their strength and violence, and the young, inexperienced, and impulsive Phakara could not simply withstand his father. After their expulsion, the females continued to communicate with their sons, but Skakama and Torn Nose wanted them to leave the area before they posed a significant threat. Thus, the 5 males left the area and headed towards Mababe to escape their father's wrath and avoid injuries. Since then, no one knew where the 5 lions went, but after a year, Phakara and his brothers were seen fighting in the NG-19 area with 3 dominant males known as Lewis, Scarface, and Fandane. Phakara and his brothers came in an attempt to take over this area. Therefore, Phakara and his brothers challenged the dominant males at the time, managing to expel them and inflict fatal injuries, allowing them to control the place and seize its resources and females. Unfortunately, since taking responsibility, they did not reproduce any cubs from the pride of 8 lionesses known as the Sable Pride. This may be due to the vast area that needs constant protection, with many infiltrating males entering and exiting from different areas, like Moremi Reserve, NG-18, and the North, those males coming to challenge these brothers and expel them from the place. In May 2022, a strong and wandering lion from the Moremi area crossed to challenge Phakara. This lion was almost twice the size of Phakara at the time, and his brothers were in the western part of the concession. The battle between these 2 lions began with simple skirmishes, but the immense competitiveness and ferocity of the lions had to show in the end. Thus, Phakara gradually withdrew without fighting or chasing the intruding lion, acting with great confidence and wisdom. He then returned to his brothers to inform them of the presence of the rebellious and intruding lion in their territory. His brothers responded to his call for help in chasing this lion, especially his brother Trump, who resembled Torn Nose in his love and attachment to Skakama. Indeed, that lion fled despite his size from the many attackers defending their territories, crossing the border and returning to where he was in the Moremi area. Phakara was a legendary lion, fearless despite his young age compared to the rest of his brothers who had taken him as a leader for many years. Perhaps some of his withdrawals and avoidance of losing battles were due to his wisdom and great intelligence. He was not reckless, but respected his strong opponents and worked to eliminate them in a smart way. In the same year, 5 male lions entered Phakara's territory from the NG-20 area, west of Tuludi, continuing to infiltrate and exit the area without encountering Phakara and his brothers due to the vastness of the place. But after a while, Phakara noticed the presence of intruders in his territory. encountering them one day with his brothers while they were conducting intensive patrols around the place, igniting a big and bloody battle. Phakara and his brothers were spotted by a guide in Savuti, who photographed a large scar that affected Phakara's right eye. Fortunately, his brothers did not suffer any serious injuries. The guide followed the trail all the way to the border to see if he could find the intruding males, discovering that they were indeed severely injured and on their way to retreat and save themselves. Phakara and his brothers managed to retain their lands for another day. Throughout the days, Phakara and his brothers fight as if there is no tomorrow, especially after they had their own cubs, those offspring and genes that will naturally inherit their strength and wisdom for years to come. The number of these cubs in the Sable Pride reached 8 cubs. Thus, Phakara and his brothers know that if they lose the battle, they will lose their lands and their right to the place, and the cubs will not survive either. Life has negatively affected Phakara, especially with his new scar and the loss of his right eye, which earned him the title of the pirate. But all this did not affect his strength and ferocity. It only increased his awe and terrifying appearance that takes one's breath away. He is a true warrior, having won 3 battles alone in the past 2 months, especially after his brothers left him again and returned to the north. Both Skakama and Torn Nose have fathered many males, but this lion should take the title of the strongest male in Botswana, awaiting the coming days to bring many exciting stories for this strong and violent lion.